Hi y'all, this is Debbie Arnold with Dining with Debbie. Today's dinner menu is a really quick and easy low country boil. I want to tell you a little bit about the ingredients that are going to be in it. Most of these you may even have on hand in your freezer or refrigerator. Certainly everybody can find the ingredients at your local market or whatever. First of all, you want to start with some smoked sausage, and I'm using an andouille type of smoked sausage. If you have Italian sausage, you could use that, or some other kind of hickory smoked sausage, you could use that. I happen to like the spiciness of the andouille, and it just kind of seems more authentic to me to use that, but you don't have to. And I would say, I'm feeding 2 people, so I'm probably going to use about half of this. This is a 14-ounce package, and I'm going to cut that sausage into just some, about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch rounds. And I'm going to brown it for just a little while. I'm not cooking it all the way through. I mean, it's cooked anyway, but this way it'll get kind of a little brown crust on it. So I'll go ahead and start my fire and start heating up my oil. And if you're making this for a large family, of course you're going to adjust the ingredients with that. For that, you'll probably want to use a really big pot. For the 2 of us, this is sufficient. And I'm using that garlic infused oil that we made earlier. Okay, so I'm going to slice this sausage into those rounds, and then I'll tell you what the rest of the ingredients are. This has some of the low country classic flavors in it. It's not like making a roux or anything for gumbo or anything like that. Although this dish is going to have shrimp in it, and it's going to have this sausage in it. That's the only meat that it's going to have in it. It will have I used these baby potatoes, that you buy like that. If you're lucky enough and you planted potatoes in your garden, you probably have plenty. You just need potatoes that are cut up to about this size, about an inch or so. All right. So I've got my sausage here. I'm going to put it in the pot and let that start browning up a little bit. You can cut this into smaller pieces if you want, especially if you're going to be serving it with a spoon or whatever. Okay, didn't mean to do that. All right, so I had 4 good-sized baby potatoes and 1 shallot. Now I like to use the shallot in this because it's a much milder flavor. If all you've got is a yellow onion or a Vidalia onion even, use that, okay? So our next step is we are going to cut up this shallot, and I do it much like I would do an onion. I'm slicing it. I don't know that you can see that very well with the pot there in the way. I guess I can do that. Let me do that. I'll move it to this back burner. Just a little bit, you can see what I'm doing here. It's hard in my kitchen to get a good spot with the lighting. I have so many windows that it's hard to see. All right, so what I'm doing now, I've already cut up my potatoes. We're browning our sausage here, and I have sliced horizontally my shallot. Now I'm going to slice it vertically, holding it together. Don't cut through that root end, that part right there. And I'm going to just do a coarse chop on this, okay? People have their own preferences on the way they like to cut up onions and whatever. So if you prefer a different method, then by all means use the way you like. As long as you get it cut up, it doesn't matter. This isn't culinary school, is it? So you grate it on your chop. Okay. So I have my shallot chopped. I have a lemon that I have quartered. We're going to use that later. I have an ear of corn over here. I'm going to cut this in half here in just a little bit and add it to the pot later. I have this garlic clove. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. I'm about to smash it and get it ready to go in the pot with the shallot. I've already peeled it. So I told you the other day, I just smashed the heck out of it. And that makes it just much more simple, I think, to handle. Okay. I'm just doing a really rough chop on it. This is a pretty good sized garlic clove. If you don't have a big garlic clove, you may want to add 2 or 3 or however many, whatever floats your boat there. Okay, so right now we are browning our sausage just a little bit. We're not going to cook it all the way through because the low country boil is going to stew together here. Just going to do this, get a little bit of that fat rendered out of it because we're going to use that fat that's in that sausage to then saute our vegetables. I have 4 cups of seafood stock over here that I have mixed up already, and it's sitting over here waiting. You may need to add a little water to it, about 1/2 cup or so, just depends on how it gets distributed. If you don't have seafood stock, use a mild stock, such as either a chicken stock or even a vegetable stock would work. And lots of times I just use the box kind on hand. I happen to have some seafood stock cubes that I used as I've had them for a while. You're also going to need some seafood seasoning, whether it's Old Bay or Zatarain shrimp boil. And this is not my preference for this dish, but or some sort of Creole seasoning. You'll want that as well because that's going to add a lot of your flavor into your dish. Okay, so now that we're browning all this up, some of our oh, by the way, I have shrimp, probably about 10 ounces or so over here that I have rinsed. I've already peeled it, and it's ready to go into the pot here in just a little bit. I've rinsed it, and it's waiting on me to add it to the pot here in a little bit. I don't know where I was going. Other than to say, we like a lot of low country type foods. We like shrimp and grits a lot. I have a dish that I fix for that. It's the recipe I use mostly now is from my friend Amy Hannon in Springdale. If y'all never been up to her little store in Springdale, it's not much of a little store. It's a great store. It's called Unimaze. Unimaze gets its name from Amy's grandmother, and anyway, she created this little kitchen store that is just darling and has such nice things in it. So if you're ever in Springdale, go by there, go by Unimaze, and if Amy happens to be in the store, be sure to tell her I sent you there, okay? She has a cookbook too, by the way. It's called Love, Welcome, Serve, and I highly recommend it. It's just full of good, everyday, family meals, lots of traditional kinds of things that you will really enjoy and find that your family enjoys them as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is remove this sausage to this platter. I'm going to get a spoon. And we've rendered out some of that fat from the sausage. You know, it's fat that gives flavor. So I don't recommend going completely without fat. I could certainly stand to lose some, but in this dish you want that flavor there. All right, the next thing we're going to do is add in our shallots and our garlic. Now I would hold off on the garlic just a little bit because garlic burns so easily. You want to soften up these shallots. Get them just to the point where you're ready to add in the garlic. And that's kind of a, whoops, there's a piece of sausage. We do lots of things with sausage like this. Sometimes Gary just grills it and we'll have it. I use it a lot of times in my gumbos and, it's make kebabs out of it, all kinds of things too. So, and it's nice to have on hand because it lasts so long and it freezes well. So, and there are all kinds of good varieties on the market, so whatever your preference is. I know Petty Jean Meats has a good one that I like to use. I don't know how well you can see this. Let me see if I can get the camera to point down there just a little bit to see. Can't get the white pot's not going to let you see it too well, is it? All right. One of these days I'll have a professional studio and y'all can, you know, love that. So, or whatever. I would love that. All right. So I'm going to let that saute just a little bit, and then I'll come back and we'll add the other ingredients in. First, we'll add in the garlic here in just a little bit, and then when I come back, I'll show you how we go from there to the next step. Okay? Thanks a bunch. I'll be back. Okay, the next step for us to do after we have sauteed our shallot and our garlic is we're going to add our potatoes to the pot. And we're going to add a couple of those wedges of lemon. And we're going to add our corn. Now the corn, that one cob I cut into 4 different pieces. Corn is not easy to cut. So if you want to use those little cobs that you can find, or those, you can even find them in small slices even, you know, that works too. I just happen to have this nice big ear of corn on hand, so I'm going to use it. Anyway, so I'm going to add that to the pot. And I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons, I'll start with 2 teaspoons, I may add more later, of our seasoning. This is Slap Your Mama. Like I said, there are all kinds of seasonings. Sometimes I even make my own, and that's fine too. Whatever your favorite Creole seasoning is would work. Okay. And then I'm going to add in my stock that I told you about, the seafood stock. And we're going to let this simmer for a few minutes before we add back in our sausage and then add in our shrimp too. The shrimp doesn't take any time to cook, so you don't want to overcook it. So give that a good stir. And notice I haven't added any salt or anything. A Creole seasoning typically has a lot of salt in it. But you can buy some that is unsalted, but I tend to just eliminate salt otherwise. And so anyway, we're going to let this boil, not boil, we're going to let it really come to a nice strong simmer and simmer for a few minutes or so, 15, 20 minutes or so. Take a look at it and then see if we're ready to add back in our sausage and our shrimp. And then we'll be good to go. I'll get the garlic bread ready and that'll be supper. Okay, we are about to finish up our low country boil, a simple, easy supper for us tonight. The shrimp are already in here. I've added the sausage back in here, and as soon as the shrimp gets cooked through, we'll be good to go. If this were at a big, true low country boil, we would take all this out. We would drain off all of the sauce, throw it out on the table, and everybody would start feasting. I wanted to add some small crabs in here today, but I couldn't find any. The ones I have in the freezer are soft shell crabs, and I'll save those and fry those up later. I didn't really want to add those into this particular dish. So while it was cooking, I added in some fresh thyme out of the garden, and this is a sprig of thyme. And in order to add that, you don't want to add it the whole time. You want to add fresh herbs toward the end of cooking. You just take it and you shred it, strip it off of there, sprinkle it in there, and it adds that just a little bit of extra flavor to it. I also put in a splash of pickle pepper sauce. You don't have to have it. We happen to like the kick of it, so I encourage you to look for it in the grocery store. Pickle pepper. And I'm also going to add in a couple of splashes of Tabasco. And whatever your favorite hot sauce is, I happen to prefer Tabasco, and it's made, of course, in Louisiana. And I'll set that out on the table. And should any one of us want to add more. So here's our low country boil. I'm going to dish it up, and when I do, I'll sprinkle some lemon juice over it, give it a little garnish with some parsley, serve it up with some garlic bread, and we are good to go. So I hope you'll give this a try. Again, it's low country boil, easy, easy, easy to do. You can prep ahead of time, whatever you need to prep ahead of time, and it's ready in under 30 minutes. So can't ask for much better meal than that. When you start serving it up, you've got those potatoes in there, you've got that corn in there, you've got all that nice sausage and shrimp, and you're just going to have such a delicious meal. And I encourage you to get a lot of that sauce up in there. You probably don't want to serve up all the sauce. I kind of put it in a jar, and I'll use it later on, maybe to cook up in some rice. And you could serve this, by the way, over some rice or grits, however you wanted to. I'm not going to tonight. So here's our low country boil with corn, potatoes, shrimp, sausage, and all those good flavors that we are adding in here. So squeeze a little lemon to it. You know, a lot of dishes really benefit from a little squeeze of lime or lemon after you finish cooking them and getting them ready to serve. Sprinkle on a little garnish, make it look pretty. Always want our food to look pretty. You eat with your eyes before you eat with your mouth. So I hope you'll give this a try. Such an easy meal to do. Takes, you know, not much time, not much preparation, and it doesn't heat up your kitchen. And we're going to take this outside to the porch and enjoy our evening meal. So I hope you give it a try. Let me know if you do. Let me know if you have any comments or questions. And I will post the recipe for this at the end of this video. So have a great day, have a blessed day, and enjoy your time here right before school starts. And everybody stay well. Thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it very much.